All right, and we're live. We got Cub Swanson versus Jonathan Martinez. And then for the main event, we got Grasso versus Arujo. Should be two interesting fights here. Jonathan Martinez probably in the biggest fight of his entire life tonight against Cub Swanson. Cub Swanson is a super UFC veteran with over 40 fights in his MMA career. One of the most impressive victories, in my opinion, that he's ever had was against Crone Gracie. And he was able to kind of pick apart Crone Gracie as Crone was undefeated in MMA. And it really showed like the versatility of Cub Swanson's game and his ability to be at least high level in all aspects of fighting, enough to thwart off the submission opportunities that Crone Gracie was trying to capitalize and use against Cub. So Cub is definitely a super veteran of the game, and Jonathan Martinez has his work cut out for him. If I had to make a prediction, I would say Cub Swanson will win this one probably in the early rounds. I'd be shocked if this made it the 3 rounds that it is scheduled for. Jonathan Martinez looks quite nervous and like he is feeling the pressure of this moment and that he is out of place right here in this fight against Cub Swanson. Even his team is like coming out looking down, and it sort of looks like they made a mistake in this one. Of course, it's a fight. Anything can happen. Of course, you're going to be nervous before a fight. But Cub Swanson is a super veteran, and he's also coming down from a weight class where they're bigger, stronger, and hit heavier. He was in the 145-pound division, is where he made a reign for most of his career, and now he's fighting in the 135 division, which this is a maneuver that you're seeing a couple fighters take later in their career, which is kind of interesting, sort of like a Jose Aldo who just actually retired himself. And Jose Aldo is a super legend, of course, and was the king of the featherweight division for over 10 years, went completely undefeated, uncontested against, and was just so dominant in the featherweight division. And then at the tail end of his career, he started fighting bantamweight at the 135-pound mark, which you're seeing Cub Swanson follow suit and do the exact same thing, which is kind of an interesting idea. Usually, the older that you get, the less that you want to cut weight, and the less that you can make that low weight class. So, it's kind of an interesting idea to cut weight later in your career when you are older. But it seems to be a move that is happening. I wonder if it has anything to do with like increased nutrition advice or plans, or what that's about. I know a couple of they talk about as they're in the twilight or later stages of their career, moving down a weight class as well. Seems to be a new kind of paradigm shift in a lot of fighters. And here you see Cub Swanson making his lighter weight division debut at 135 pounds. Now, there is something to be said, though, for changing weight divisions where maybe they don't hit as hard. Here's the tail of the tape. Let's do this before I continue that point. Cub Swanson's 38, Jonathan Martinez is 28. They're both 5'8". Cub Swanson's 135. Jonathan Martinez is 135 and a half. And they both have a 70-inch reach. So virtually the same, except Cub Swanson is 10 years older than Jonathan Martinez. One other thing that you see is Cub Swanson made exactly the weight of 135. And a lot of times that is a statement in itself. Let me explain what I mean. In the UFC, you are allowed a 1 pound allotment if you are not fighting a title fight. So, for example, if you fight the 135-pound division, you are able to weigh in at a maximum of 136 pounds, except for title fights. Title fights must be at the 135-pound limit. So a lot of times when the guy's cutting weight, especially when it's a tough cut for a guy like Cub Swanson, who formerly fought at a bigger weight class, cutting to the exact limit of 135 is making a statement and saying that I'm going to be going for the title. I could make the championship weight and watch for me in the very, very tippy top of the division, where you have to make that 135 weight no matter what. There was some point that I was making before that, but the fight's beginning right now, so let's begin with the action. Cub Swanson coming out with a couple of teep or front kicks, testing the waters here. I remember the point I was talking about. When you are going down a weight division, a lot of times the people that are below you in the lower weight division have a speed advantage, and you oftentimes have a power advantage. Jonathan Martinez comes in for a round kick here. He slips, and Cub Swanson jumps all over him. Jonathan Martinez springs back up to his feet, looking for a takedown. Cub Swanson looking for a guillotine here. We're 40 seconds into the first round. Guillotine was escaped. The guy popped his head out, and they are up against the fence right now. Jonathan Martinez has a nice underhook here. An underhook is a great way to keep the fight against the cage, and you could see Jonathan Martinez utilizing this right now. Cub Swanson using some interesting kind of heel stomps on Jonathan Martinez's leg here. Not the traditional like foot stomps, but just digging his heel down into like the calf of Jonathan Martinez. And Cub Swanson looking like he's added a couple new tools to his arsenal, throwing kicks in a very odd way here. This like Taekwondo style sidekick seems to be a new thing that he's trying out. And you could just sort of see the veteran nature of Cub Swanson's striking ability is, beautiful takedown here from Cub Swanson. Double leg right in the center of the octagon. You see Cub Swanson just has such a very well-developed takedown game. Cub Swanson doing some beautiful body lock passing here, and gets to a position where he's flanked the legs from this body lock. And transitions over to north-south and gets reversed here from Jonathan Martinez. Good stuff here from Jonathan Martinez. Now he's in a front headlock situation with Jonathan Martinez. Cub Swanson looks to put his knee on the ground, which signifies a grounded opponent, as Jonathan Martinez was looking to set up a knee to the head. So you could use that rule because you cannot knee or kick a grounded opponent to the head to make yourself down. And if you're down, no kicks to the head are available. They both scramble back up to their feet, and they're back in a striking situation here. But as I was saying, you could really see the length and breadth of Cub Swanson's striking ability, as he is a 40-plus fight veteran and can switch up from a Muay Thai type style to a Taekwondo type style, to a kickboxing, to a boxing type style, and is really able to mix up the style of striking that is coming at his opponent. Fighting, though, with a hands-down, sort of Anderson Silva-esque type strategy here, and it's always important to make sure that you're defending yourself at all times. Could be a little bit risky fighting with the hands down. I think Jonathan Martinez has shown that he deserves some respect, and Cub Swanson is not giving him that respect, which could lead to some problems later in the fight. This is a 3-round fight. So far, there's 1 minute, 20 seconds left in the first round. Jonathan Martinez with a big head kick, and Cub Swanson just chilling here with the hands down. Got to be careful with those hands down, and he just gets his hands up in time to defend some of the major kicks that are coming out of Martinez. 52 seconds here, straight right hand from Cub Swanson. I'd love to see Cub Swanson bring his hands back up. 43 seconds left. Nice oblique kick to the leg. Nice shot to the spleen from Cub Swanson. Nice straight right hand down the middle. But if this first round has shown anything, it's shown that Jonathan Martinez is here to fight, and he should be respected. Yep. Cub Swanson gets hit with a giant knee, which has him in major trouble here in the first round, looking to do an underhook escape from side control. 10 seconds left. This will win Jonathan Martinez the round, not showing Jonathan Martinez the respect that I said that he deserved. 3 seconds left, 2 seconds left, 1 second left, and time. Cub Swanson barely by the skin of his teeth makes it out of the first round. And let's hope that he now respects his opponent and will make the necessary adjustments going into round 2. That was a major problem for Cub Swanson in that situation. And if the round was 5 seconds longer, the fight probably would have been stopped. So very close to the finish there, and that's what you get for not having your hands up and not showing respect to your opponent, like I was saying. Let's see how this second round looks. I wonder if Cub Swanson is still kind of on Queer Street in his recovering from the barrage of strikes that he suffered at the end of that first round. Gotta respect to your opponents, 100%. All right, here we are, round number 2. They're showing the replay. Boom, big time knee from Jonathan Martinez, and he capitalizes with the ground and pound. All right, round 2, here we are. Jonathan Martinez looking like he has a big confidence boost here, but still being very cautious. Cub Swanson looking for some crazy spinning kicks, and again with this hands down strategy. Jonathan Martinez again with a big knee and a big head kick, and Jonathan Martinez another couple big kicks to the head here, and lots of punches. Cub Swanson tries to change levels, but looks like he sort of slipped, but he's also kind of hurt there. Cub Swanson in a turtle position now, really covering up, trying to avoid these strikes. Cub Swanson in a very bad situation here in the beginning of this second round. Definitely not making that statement that he wanted to make. Jonathan Martinez looking for a crazy head and arm strangle. Lets it go and ends up on top here and on top of the half guard. Cub Swanson looking really uncomfortable. Looking like he's got suffering all over his face here. And not looking like the regular Cub Swanson that everyone knows and loves here. Looking to use the lockdown to, which is a variation of half guard, to get Martinez's weight off of him. Looking to stand back up. Martinez in the classic headquarters passing position, which makes it difficult to stand back up. Cub Swanson looking for a guillotine, but being in that headquarters passing position just sends Martinez right through to mount. Cub Swanson looking to stand up and get up for mount. This is one thing that I see a lot of MMA fighters doing, which is just kind of crazy to me, is they just try to stand up out of the mount. And to see Cub Swanson do this is kind of crazy. Cub Swanson goes and turns his back, and Martinez goes to a body lock kind of situation here, 2 minutes, 30 seconds. And Cub Swanson is just not in a good situation in this fight at all. I want to do a YouTube video about respect. Jonathan Martinez throws another big knee to the head here. 2 minutes left in the second round. Both back to standing in the center of the octagon, and Cub Swanson still with his hands down. And another big kick from Martinez. You know, it's crazy that Swanson, all right, he's putting his hands up a little bit more now. If I was his coach, I'd be screaming at him to put his hands up. But, oh, he got kicked in the leg and he goes down. Cub Swanson really not looking like himself in this fight whatsoever here. Really needs to get some momentum going his way. Martinez just chopping him down. Barely misses another big knee to the head here. But maybe Cub Swanson can regain his composure. The second round probably has gone to absolute shit for him too. But maybe he could come back and do some good work here in the third round. But having his hands down again is not a good sign. And it looks like, wow, Martinez looks like he just finished the fight. He threw a couple leg kicks, and Cub Swanson just laid down and didn't want to be kicked in the leg anymore and just sort of gave up in that fight. I hate to say gave up because getting kicked in the leg absolutely sucks, you know. And I've had a dead leg before. I've had people kick my legs before, and it is not fun whatsoever. And sometimes if your leg is dead, you just got nothing in the tank. Here they're showing it again. They're showing him, yeah, go into that crouching tiger position with the leg kicks and having him take lots of punishment on the ground from them. But wow, what a performance by this kid, Jonathan Martinez, and what a what a performance unlike Cub Swanson usually gives. I mean, Cub Swanson usually calm, calculated, strategic, comes in as a veteran, and is just able to come in with a tremendous fight IQ and just come in and destroy his opponents. But in this fight, he just got beaten in multiple ways. And a lot of it was due to the lack of respect that he was giving his opponent. As I said, having your hands down is not a good strategy in these firefights. I mean, the kid was throwing giant head kicks to Cub Swanson's head, and he still has his hands down. You just can't continue on with that strategy. But then the fight ended via leg kicks, which is another crazy addition or part of this fight. Anyway, the next fight is going to be the chick fight with Grasso versus Arujo, and they're starting to play the promos for that. Of course, it will take some time for that to happen. If you're watching, if you're my one viewer watching, throw something in the chat, and I'd be happy to respond to it. Here they're showing the official decision. I wonder what they classify this as. I guess a TKO. I wonder too if Cub Swanson got injured at some point in the fight, and if that affected him somehow. Your winner by TKO. Yep. Wow, that's definitely the best moment of Jonathan Martinez's career and probably life, with an impressive victory against a super legend and super high level guy in Cub Swanson. And he came out worried. His team came out worried, and now they seem to be elated. They're showing some of the replays here. And they're showing Cub Swanson go down after those ridiculous leg kicks. Crazy. I wonder if Cub had some problems with his legs, and if Martinez was exploiting that or something to that effect. But I guess a bit of a star was born here with Martinez, and I wish him the absolute best. He says he came in and he had a job to do, and he did it. The commentator said, "You're a man of few words, but you let your actions speak for yourself here." His coaches are hugging him, and good job, good job. If I was a betting man, I would not have bet on Jonathan Martinez in that fight. So good for him and a well-deserved win. All right, then we have next Grasso versus Araujo. That should be another interesting fight, but I'm really excited for. We got a card coming out October 22nd in 7 days next Saturday. That's a wild card. We have Peter Yan versus. Oh my goodness! Before we even get to that one, first we have Caitlin Chukagian versus Manon Fiorot. Caitlin Chukagian is a awesome fighter. She trains under the Henzo Gracie team with Gordon and with the Danaher Death Squad. So she's got the best grappling on the jiu-jitsu end of the spectrum, and then her boyfriend is like some super champion all-star Olympic wrestler as well. Big fan of her and her style. Then you have Beneil Dariush versus Mateus Gamrot. Beneil Dariush, super duper veteran, has one of the highest fight IQs and seems to just be like indestructible. He had a fight that was sort of planned against Islam Makhachev, and really just a veteran of the game versus a very, very game opponent in Mateus Gamrot. And Gamrot just had, his last fight was against Arman Tsarukyan to Surakin, or whatever you want to say that is. And a really barn burner fight. And they showed that the up and coming guys in this lightweight division that are not like in the top 10 yet, or like in the top 10 to top 15, breaking into the top 10, are really, really serious, highly skilled dudes. And the guy who won that battle, Mateus Gamrot, is going to go against the top 5, Beneil Dariush. So that's a wild, wild fight. Mateus Gamrot is a pressure wrestler, and it should be interesting to see if he can pull off that kind of style against a Beneil Dariush, who just is known for having all around great skills and being a great fighter. Then the next is Peter Yan versus Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley being a superstar. He's got crazy hair, big advocate of the weed and 420 movement as is part of his brand. He's got the pot leaf shirts and stuff for sale on his merch and all of that. Versus a Peter Yan, who is a super tough Russian, and that should be a phenomenal fight. Sean O'Malley is known for his striking overall and in general, and especially his kicks. And Peter Yan is known for his boxing. A lot of people think that Peter Yan won his last fight against Aljamain Sterling, um, but it was a very, very close battle, and Aljamain just edged out the victory to win the title. So a great fight for both guys. Sean O'Malley has been fighting so many guys that are like unranked or in the 10 to 15 category, and it was cool to see. It was cool to see Sean O'Malley now fight someone who's really at the top of the heap of the division in the top three, and really see his skills against the best of the best guys. Ken Shalaya says, Ryan, I used your Amazon link and I got my sneakers. Thank you. Got a good rate. I appreciate that, Ken Shaloya. If you guys want, check out my Amazon link in the description there. You could do all of your great Amazon shopping that you already do for the same exact prices, except I just get a very, very small portion of that, and that's what Ken Shaloya is referring to. If you don't want to buy any of my martial art instructionals or donate via my PayPal link with the standard form of money that you'd spend, if you just want to do all your regular Amazon shopping and use my link, that would be greatly appreciated. It helps out the channel. Then the co-main event is Aljamain Sterling versus TJ Dillashaw, which this is really like the guys who are at the very top of the heap of the bantamweight division, the 135-pound division. The fight previously, Sean O'Malley and Peter Yan, is almost a like number one contender fight for the actual championship, which is Aljamain Sterling versus TJ Dillashaw. TJ Dillashaw is a super veteran of the game and has been champion twice of the bantamweight division and is known to have great all-around skills, excellent striking, excellent wrestling, and is known to work under the camp of Dwayne Ludwig, who is known specifically for his striking prowess. And then he's going against the current champion, Aljamain Sterling, who is famous for his backpacking type style, where he takes your back and he either finishes you or just holds you for the rest of the round in that body triangle back position. And then you have the great main event of Charles Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev, which is a mind-blowing fight. Two extremely impressive grapplers. Charles Oliveira, impressive in the jiu-jitsu sense, has so many victories from his great jiu-jitsu. And Islam Makhachev, extremely impressive in his wrestling sense, and is the protege of Khabib Nurmagomedov and Khabib's father, who unfortunately has passed away now, but fights out of that American Kickboxing Academy, Daniel Cormier type situation. And I believe both fighters have like a 10-11 fight win streak, and they're both going in to fight for the title, both having a 10-plus fight win streak each. What's interesting and compelling about that fight too is Charles Oliveira has phenomenal striking, and he has phenomenal jiu-jitsu. And then you put that against a really great wrestler. So wrestling a lot of times is the gatekeeping in the fight. The wrestler or the superior wrestler gets to decide, does the fight remain standing or does the fight get taken to the ground? And the antithesis, the great part of this fight is that both of those styles are directly counteracting each other, where Charles Oliveira has phenomenal striking and phenomenal jiu-jitsu. So it doesn't matter where he is in the fight, he's still extremely dangerous. And then Islam Makhachev has the phenomenal wrestling to determine where the fight is going to go, and has that Dagestan wrestling / Khabib type style as well. So really a great and compelling fight, a great and compelling complete fight card for the entire UFC 280, and I will be for sure commentating that one as well. Very excited for that card. Um, a lot of people are asking me, who do I think is going to win, Charles Oliveira or Islam Makhachev? I'm a little bit biased being Team Jiu-Jitsu here, but I think that Charles Oliveira has had several championship fights that are really important for his fight IQ, his experience, his um, and his 5-round fight that he's going to fight Islam Makhachev against. He has more experience fighting those 5 rounds and in the real pressure of that main event than Makhachev. So should be a tremendous, like Joey Diaz says, tremendous. Should be a tremendous fight card, and can't wait to see it. But now we have Alexa Grasso versus what's her first name? Viviane Araújo. That should be a good one. In the main event here, I guess it is Hispanic Heritage Month, and Alexa Grasso did a whole interview and spiel on how she's very proud to be Mexican and how she wants to inspire other Mexican women to do MMA, which is good for her, good for the sport, good for Mexico. You saw, his name leaves me right now. Oh, Brandon Moreno, fighting in the flyweight division, really put Mexico on the map, and should be a phenomenal fight between him and Davison Figueiredo again. All right, the tail of the tape, we got Alexa Grasso 29, Viviane Araújo 35. Alexa Grasso 5'5", Viviane 5'4", 125.5 versus 126. Alexa Grasso a 66-inch reach, and Viviane Araújo a 68-inch reach. All right, Joe Martinez is your Bruce Buffer doing the announcing here. It's tough. It must be tough in the world of announcing if you're not Bruce Buffer, because he is for sure the GOAT. He's so far head and shoulders in front of everyone else that must be tough to be an announcer if you're anyone else. All right. Joe Martinez doing his final announcing here. He does a spiel where he's like, "Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready?" That's his routine that he does, that he's famous for. And it looked to me for a second like Araújo here had earrings in, but no, she doesn't have earrings in. She has gauges, which means that she has a circle by her ear here, where they like did a big piercing, where they cut out a big circle, and you tape that circle up so that it doesn't get caught in the fight and ripped open. And that's what Araújo has on her ears right now. All right, they both shake hands. They go back out to their respective corners. They both got a hand in the octagon, giving each other the mean evil eye. And things are about to get underway. You ready? You ready? And fight. Round 1 of 5 rounds here with Grasso versus Araujo, the flyweight main event. There were some fights that were canceled coming up to this fight card here, and my dad asked a phenomenal question because the main event is supposed to be 5 rounds. That if the main event gets canceled and they move one of these fights up, does it stay as a 3-round fight or does it become a 5-round fight? I thought that was an excellent question. In this circumstance, it is a 5-round fight, but sometimes people honor the contractual obligation that they signed that the fight could be a 3-round fight. And in those specific circumstances, then a lot of times the fight stays as a 3-round fight. But in general, 99.9% of the time, including this time, the main event is a 5-round fight. So far, each fighter comes out at sort of a slow type pace here. Both girls really just trying to find their range, find a home for their jabs. And both are fighting in the orthodox stance with their left foot in front and their right foot behind. And of course, this is referred to as a closed stance where both of their hips face each other. And there are certain things that you do from this sort of closed stance. If one fighter was fighting southpaw, where she had her other leg in front, they would be fighting in an open stance, and then that would dictate some of the things that both fighters can do from that stance. We're 2 minutes into the first round. Both women throwing hard punches, but really, managing the distance and being at a range that's really hard to land. Both of these women looking very powerful. It looks like Grasso has this sort of cagey type guard. You see fighters like Justin Gaethje sort of utilize this kind of guard. The guard is referred to a lot of times as the way that you hold your hands, and it's very important to know your guard well, as it's your defense and it's your offense. Araujo shoots in for a takedown. I wonder if she has a good grappling base, looking like she is Brazilian. And Brazilians a lot of times like to use that jiu-jitsu. So getting the fight to the ground is imperative. But as I was saying, Grasso has this like cagey type guard where it's a lot of times good for defending the head, but you sort of leave your body open big time when you kind of bring all of your resources to this high type guard when you're blocking your head. Nice leg kick there from Grasso, and then a nice 2 straight down the middle. You can start to see the welt already forming on Araujo's leg. And she's going back to that leg kick once again. Araujo puts it behind her. Crazy leg kicks today. You saw Cub Swanson get finished via leg kicks, which is very uncharacteristic of him, and you see it playing a factor in this fight as well. Araujo putting that leg in front, but being a little bit more tentative about putting weight on it. The thing is when you... Oh, and beautiful takedown there by Araujo. And then excellent whizzer from Grasso there. A whizzer is when you have an overhook, and a lot of times you could use the overhook to break people's balance. And Grasso just timed it so beautifully, where as Arujo took her down and as they went to scramble back up, she really used that whizzer to send the other chick back down to the ground. And that concludes round number one. Interesting round. Hard to say one way or another. But as I was saying, when you get kicked really hard in that front leg, you get real tentative about putting that same leg in front, A, and B, really stepping hard on that leg. Once you step and commit your body weight to that leg, it's hard for you to pick it up um, and move on it. So, you know, the leg kicks are not only good in defeating the legs and hurting the legs, but it's also troublesome for your stance. And then when it's troublesome for your stance, it becomes troublesome for you to be able to generate power from the floor by cementing your foot into the floor to throw your strikes. For example, your hooks or um, anything that has to do, especially with that same side leg and that same side arm, is all affected from those leg kicks. You see a nice bruise here, second round beginning for these ladies. Ooh, a nice 1-2 there from Arujo. Really rocks Grasso. A nice switch kick to the body, too. Oof, both of these ladies trading hard shots to the head. Everything seems to be power shots in these rounds. These ladies are not fighting at a pace that is conducive to a 5-round fight. And I'm wondering if it got switched from a 3 to a 5 round, if they sort of trained for a 3-round fight, because it almost looks like they're fighting more the pace of a 3-round fight. Oh, another nice 1-2. Both of these ladies, I got to give them props on how they throw their strikes. They throw them right down the middle, right down the pipe. And it's really hard to see that coming when you are looking to block those strikes. The eyes, they pick up this side-to-side movement much better than the straight through movement. For example, that's why people have brake lights on cars, because the eye doesn't pick up so well the straight forward and backwards movement of things. The brake lights on the cars are so that you know when a car is starting to brake, so that you don't slam into it in front of you. But you see a car turn left and right so obviously. But the point of the brake lights are because you don't see the car turning as well, or you don't see the car going as well straight forward and backwards. And the same thing is to be said for a straight punch coming right down the middle. That's why you're directed to throw with proper technique by throwing straight down the middle, because the eye doesn't catch it as well as the hooking shot. Arujo does a beautiful takedown here, and Grasso doesn't have the same ability to whizzer her. Ends her up in a side control situation here, and Arujo showing a very odd side control type defense. One thing that that has been kind of disappointing and upsetting from these UFC fighters. Now, I gotta give them their props and their respect that they're in the cage, and I'm here just criticizing on the couch, literally. Their pin escapes, though, need a lot of work. I have a martial arts instructional called Unpinnable, and I show you how to get out of the major positions of jiu-jitsu, and it seems to be a weak point for a lot of these A, jiu-jitsu people, but B, MMA fighters as well. you're seeing Arujo elect to use the half guard here as a dominant passing position. Then she passes to side control once again. And she bridges and escapes, and they're back to their feet. Wow. Crazy stuff here. A lot of times, the half guard is used as a great position to keep people's legs locked up and keep people on their back. 1 minute left here in the second round. It seems that Arujo has the superior grappling in this fight. And they both look relatively even in striking. And it's interesting considering Arujo is 6th ranked in this fight. I mean, I guess Grasso landing some shots now. A nice 1-2 from Grasso there. Kind of earning her way back into this ground. And then a beautiful takedown. And then another. And time. That's the end of the second round. A big round for Arujo. Great takedowns in that round, and was able to really get Grasso on her back and in a defensive posture for a lot of that round. All right, third round. Both fighters come out tentatively here. Arujo throws a 1-2. Arujo faking the takedown. You know, it's a great thing to have the ability to take someone down in a fight. Not only for everything that you could do on the ground, but it makes them start thinking and dropping their hands to defend the takedown, which opens up your ability to strike as well. If you see Arujo has that advantage in this fight, and Grasso just looking to purely strike in this fight, has Arujo only having to defend against the strikes that Grasso is throwing. So one fighter only needs to worry about strikes, and another fighter has to worry about all of the takedowns and grappling and the strikes. So it's a big advantage in the striking department here, and Arujo is capitalizing on this nicely. A nice 1-2 down the middle for Arujo. Another nice jab from Arujo. And again, Grasso's like, is the takedown coming or is the strikes coming? And it's really hard to defend both of those at the same time. The great George St. Pierre was a pioneer in this regard and really changed the whole face of the UFC by no longer having having it be style versus style and having different styles compete against each other, but rather by competing by mixing different styles. So George St. Pierre really revolutionized the game in the gray areas of the mixture in between styles. And one of these gray areas is what you're seeing now in the um, takedown versus the striking as well. Guys like Danaher will call this particular element of the game grapple boxing, because you're looking to do boxing, but you're also looking to grapple as well. And if you just study grapple boxing, it's better than knowing, and it will prepare you better for the grapple boxing situations that you're in, rather than grappling or striking itself. So these areas of specialized skill start to develop within the rules of MMA that aren't exactly just martial art versus martial art. We got 90 seconds left here in the third round. Both of these chicks are tough, and the pace is slowed down a little bit here. I think both girls realize that they're really in a 5-round fight, and they need to fight as if they are in a 5-round fight. But their jabs and their crosses, their ones and their twos, really do come straight down the middle, and you blink and you miss it. Another nice jab there from Aruja. Came straight down the middle. Nice front kick to the head, too. That was a crazy kick from Aruja. Pardon me. 14 seconds left in the third round. Grasso getting some strikes back in. This was a very important round here because time. Whew, there was some intensity there. Grasso looking frustrated with herself, as she should, because this third round is very, very important. Hey, my video got a like. Respect. The third round really determines who's winning this fight. And it looks like it's 2 rounds for the Brazilian girl and 1 round for the Mexican girl. You definitely want to be on the side that's winning 2 rounds, of course. You know, you saw something interesting there with the coach of Grasso saying that you're doing everything perfect, and it's a really fine line um, to tell your fighter, you know, you want to encourage them and you want to get their head back into the fight, but also if they're losing rounds, telling them that everything is perfect is really not true or the case, you know. So it's a fine balance there of wanting to encourage them that they're on track and they're sort of doing the right thing, but also like you got to be able to win the rounds to win the fight, and you want to, you know, be honest with them at the same time. So um, it's a difficult situation for the fighter and for the coach when your fighter is down a couple of rounds and you have to tell them something in between. I've been there myself. We're in round 4 here. And Grasso's still, keeping her honest with those 1-2s. She may not be winning the fight, but one thing is clear: if you try to close the distance on her, she's going to hit you with a 1-2. And I think Arujo is aware of this, and she's sort of saying, all right, now come to me. Where Arujo, the last couple rounds, has really been putting in a lot of work, and rightfully so, where she's ahead. At least I believe so. But she's picked up on the counterfighting nature of Grasso's style, and looking to sort of exploit that. The way you exploit a counterfighter is you try to make them come to you. And that's what I see Arujo doing now. And if you're up on the scorecards, which you don't really know, and of course you should always fight to win. But these rounds have been pretty clear cut, especially with the addition of the takedowns and the ground and pound on Arujo's side. That you could really put a counterfighter in a precarious situation by forcing them to be the aggressor. Ooh, a nice head kick and then cross combination there from Arujo. Not something you standardly or classically see. One minute 40 seconds left here in the fourth round. Grasso's got a great 1-2. You got to give it to her. That great counterfighting 1-2. Where it almost becomes like a reactive switch, where if someone comes in and tries to close distance, they're met with the 1-2 to keep them honest. And you could tell it's something that she's drilled many times and is good at. Another takedown attempt here from Arujo, but Grasso is able to kind of go against the fence and do this like split stance kind of posture, which makes it difficult to take someone down. But the thing to do there is to try to go and switch to a single leg in this situation, which you see Arujo try for. And Grasso being wise to it. When Daniel Cormier was commentating, he would always be adamant about how you have to go for a single leg when someone does that switch stance. Another great option that you could do from there too is you could start to trip the legs and get the legs off the fence, which you see people utilizing as well. Arujo looking to pummel in Grasso looking to pummel in an underhook and switch things up, and it's enough to get them out of the clinch. And that should do it for round 4. I'd say that's probably another round for Arujo, which makes her up 3-1. But you never really know the scorecards here. It's a big advantage for her that she's able to incorporate the grappling into this fight. The coach says, "This is the last round. She is screwed. Take her down." That is great, hilarious, and accurate advice. And you see the look on Grasso's face, looking that she's got to make an opportunity out of this. She's got to do something with this round if she wants to win. This opportunistic look. And both ladies coming out really charged here in the fifth round. And a nice cross there from Grasso. And you can tell she wants to win. You know, she's using her famous 1-2 here. But a lot of her style is that counter-fighting style. And she's sort of waiting for Araujo to come in and waiting to plant that 1-2 on her, you know? And Araujo is wise to this and is just staying on the outside, knowing that she has the fight basically won. And Grasso's getting frustrated. 4 minutes left. And Grasso looking to step forward with the jab. Steps forward with the 1-2. And it appears that Araujo has her number. You know, she knows that the 1-2 is her strength. She knows she loves to do it in the counter striking kind of way. Grasso comes forward with a jab uppercut this time instead. Looks to try to mix up with a spinning back fist. Araujo looking for the takedown, pushes her up against the fence. And this is the fight that's good for Araujo, bad for Grasso. If she can make this gritty and grind out the rest of this round, then it would appear that she's won. 2 minutes, 55 seconds left in this fight. Two minutes, 30 seconds. And a hook from Grasso, changing up that 1-2. And Araujo feinting for a takedown, feinting for the level change. That's something that great grapplers will do, that once they have you biting down on that feint, that they change levels and you have to drop your hands to meet the level change. And then when you change levels and you don't drop your hands, that's when you get the takedown. And that's another element of grapple boxing. Like I'm saying, it's not different styles fighting each other. It's the mixing of the different styles. 1 minute, 46 seconds left here in round number 5. The final round of the fight. Grasso throwing some jabs out there, seeing if anything comes of them. Grasso's got that clean 1-2, but she's got to expand on that. Araujo with a beautiful front kick right to the stomach. Araujo looks for another takedown. Great framing there from Grasso. 1 minute left in the 5th round. Grasso's really got to make something happen in this round or she lost. It looks like the commentating booth is saying that this fight is neck and neck and close. And I don't really see it that way. I see Araujo as the one who's been dominating here. And that the significant strikes are even. 15 seconds left. 7 seconds. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and time. They both embrace, give each other a nice hug in the center of the octagon. All right, let's see if I was right about Arujo being ahead and winning this fight essentially, as the referees seem to, I mean, not the referees, the commentators were saying that it was about even and that the significant strikes are about even, if not leaning the other way. But ultimately, it's down to the judges. There's 3 judges for every fight, and you leave your life in the hands of those judges when you don't finish the opponent. Yeah, here they're showing significant strikes. A lot. Alexa Grasso has 96 versus Vivian's 83 to the head. And then Alexa Grasso has 15 significant body strikes, and Vivian has 19 significant body strikes. Alexa Grasso 19 leg kicks to Arujo's 7, and then about a minute and 40 seconds of ground time. After 5 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for the decision: 50-45, 49-46, and 49-46. For the other chick, oh my goodness. So what fight am I watching here? Alexa Grasso apparently wins the fight. Wow. That's insane. Paul Felder asking her, is she surprised by the judges' scorecards? I'm surprised by the judges' scorecards. I mean, even the corner of Arujo had her saying that that the other lady's screwed. That we've got the fight in the bag. Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. Well, I guess don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about, I guess. No, I know what I'm talking about. It's just a crazy decision from the judges. Wow. So I guess they didn't weigh in any of Arujo's takedowns or of her ground and pound or anything that she did on the ground. Well, all right. I think that is a highway robbery. Let me see if they interview the other chick. All right, let me see. Do they interview the other girl? It's not looking like they're going to interview the other girl. Wow. All right. Well, a total robbery. Well, anyway, that concludes the fights for the evening. I will see you guys next time for UFC 280 with Charles Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev. thank you all. Much love to you all, and I hope you have a great night. Thank you.